Alright, hell yeah. So here's the first two mistakes people make R1 rafting. It's one is they just use a rudder. They want to paddle forward and then kind of rudder the boat back to center, or try to keep their momentum going forward. The other mistake, this is kind of a two-in-one, is that you'll want to be, here's the mistake, is you want to be kind of facing this way if I want to go this way. And I know when I paddle this way, my boat's going to be over here. Mistake number two is that you only rudder back to straight. So we're going to go over, I'm going to paddle these, but the correction to this is at least get your boat, 15 to even 30 degrees this way. Then when you paddle, now you're straight, and then your rudder's back to this 15 degrees. What I'm going to show is the opposite. It's kind of the two mistakes I see people do, is that you'll paddle forward, and then you'll just rudder, getting the boat barely back to center. Alright, so here's that. And I don't even have any momentum, so I can hardly gain momentum with this technique. But there you go, I'm gaining slight momentum. Let's do it on the way out here. Alright, hell yeah. Now I'm gonna give this technique all it's worth, you know what I mean? Not to knock it. If you give it full effort, here we go. Alright, so that wasn't bad. Now if that's where you are in your R1 game, and because that's two techniques. One is you're going to be trying to sit more centered in the boat, and your paddle's going to be out to the side anyway. And then your rudder, you might not know how to, you know what I mean? You might just stick your paddle out there, just give it some rudder. I'm not even bracing the paddle against the boat, because that's kind of something that I saw. So, hell yeah. So what we're going to do is just going to modify it. We're going to get this part of our boat right in front of us, and still kind of rudder out to the side. All right, so let's see how much effort we can put in. All right, still feels awful, but and this is going to be harder to do because you have to delay this pry so your boat rotates all the way around. It might feel like you're losing all your momentum. Alright, so let's see how we can improve upon those two mistakes. And then the other technique that I've seen, it's almost a mistake, I don't know, but people will combine that with kind of pulling and drawing the boat this way to make up for kind of lost momentum. Alright, so here we go. We're going to paddle the boat that way and then rudder. And then maybe kind of draw the boat this way. Paddle the boat this way, rudder. Maybe do a draw stroke this way. Paddle the boat that way, do a rudder. And I get it. There's this element that you just want the boat to go straight. So this might not be a fix for that, but it's just general knowledge, is that when you R1 raft, instead of having this be straight and then turn the boat that way and bring it back, you want this to be your straight. So I'm going to paddle right towards the camera, but I want to bring the boat back right over here. I didn't, and I'm not using a rudder stroke on the back. So if you're just paddling and then doing a rudder stroke, the boat's not going to rotate. So what you need to do is do a forward stroke and then either a stroke to the side, like even just a stroke to the side, So instead of setting up for a rudder, just push that rudder out like a stroke. You know what I mean? And that might be your first improvement. All right, here we go. Push this rudder out to the side, just so that rotation happens a little faster. So what this is working on is at least rotating the boat past center as quickly as possible, even if it's slow, you know what I mean? And then take your next stroke. So I'm rotating the boat to 15, and then taking a stroke, and then rotating the boat back. Even if you're paddle guided, let's get into frame. Yeah, even if you're paddle guided, you know, you got a full crew, but you're out on the side, you're going to be doing that same thing. Your paddle stroke's going to turn the boat this way. Your pry stroke is going to turn it to about a 15-degree angle. You know, sometimes shallower, but then that's what you're going to use to power off. And you're going to be going back and forth right in that middle. All right, let's go over another one. All right, hell yeah. So one other technique that I see people doing out there is they're paddling, you know, this way, off the front of the boat. Now, I do have a good technique of saying, you know, paddle a 15-degree angle, because then you have a lot to pry against. You know what I mean? If you're just pulling the boat this way, that's not really going to help your pry, I don't think, in the end. If you're pulling the boat this way, maybe doing a paddle stroke, and then pry it. So, I know that's like a C stroke for like a kayaker, or even like a canoe. But I think the modification is just 15 degrees under the rug and then pry against it. You know, compared to going this way, then doing a forward stroke. Because I think what's going to happen is that when you pull this way, you're just going to be pulling the boat sideways. You know what I mean? Like you would have to reach real far up here to actually draw the boat forward like that. And, you know, and so what would a reverse pry look like? You know what I mean? Honestly, you'd be better off not doing this way, but almost sweeping the boat like that. Kind of like finishing a sweep, like finishing a sweep stroke. But here, I'm going to try that technique that I kind of see people use. So they do a forward stroke, and then maybe like a correction stroke. I don't know, it just feels like, it doesn't feel strong to me at all. Where you can do the same thing just by that 15 degrees and then pry it. So alright, here we go. 15 degrees, and then you got something to pry against. Alright, so that kind of leads us into the remainder of this tutorial. Is R1 rafting, it's like mountain biking. You're only as fast as your hydraulic disc brakes are going to stop you. Same thing for R1 rafting. You're only going to get the forward momentum as much as you can pry the boat. And that might seem counterintuitive to a lot of people, because you know, anytime that you're prying the boat, you're putting a lot of friction down, you know, kind of in a direction you might not want to go. Hopefully it's just directly out to the side. And I've even shown where, like, if you're at a standstill, if I turn the boat like this, and then I pry your direction, well, that's actually momentum going your way. So you can use, you know, the pry, especially with an angled boat, still is giving you momentum in the direction you want to go. What's going to happen when you're first doing this, you're going to take a paddle stroke, and then you're going to be able to sweep out to the side. That's going to be as strong as people's pries are going to get. That's why I did that, you know, do a stroke, do a rudder, and then just push on it. You know, and then the next step from that is do a stroke and try to push on it, but kind of, or try to pull with your top hand. If you can get the same motion by pulling with your top hand and ruddering, then that's going to really help you. Now I get it, the first time you're going to take a stroke and pull on this top hand, it's not going to do much. It's not going to feel like anything. might have a better chance of just taking that stroke and then doing that. You know what I mean? So your first try stroke is going to be all right if you do just like a sweep. You know, take a stroke and then sweep the front of the boat. Because the objective, no matter what, is just to get some rotation. When you paddle forward, the boat's going to go that way. Anything to get that rotation back. Like 15 degrees and it's real hard for me. So this is my strong side. So I got to go to my off side. I'd be like, well, you know, why is this price so hard? Because yeah, even like right now, I'm getting blown in, and I don't know how to get my boat going forward. So if I really focus on this, I got to be at this angle. And see, now if I pry, see, look at that. The momentum's going your way. And this is like the first 5 strokes. And until you get up to speed, you know, then I can kind of go this way. But that's once I get some top speed. So that was real interesting right there. Where, yeah, 9 times out of 10, you'll get into that situation, R1 rafting, where I can't even get the boat going. Because we have a little wind going this way. If I want to go towards you, and that wind picks up, you know, there's just no way. What am I going to do here? I'm already off angle. Then even if I do that sweep all the way back, you know, I'm going the wrong way. I'm actually going this way. So even R1 rafting is really get that pry going, and get that pry going almost where you want to go. So I'm prying my boat towards you, and now I can soften it up, you know, like a 45-degree angle, and now a 15. Now when I'm at top speed, hell yeah, now I can track my boat and keep it going. Because there's going to be so many scenarios, R1 rafting, where, you know what I mean, something stops you dead, whether it's a wave or an eddy, where you just have to kind of like start over. And you know, if I want to go that way, I got to get the bulk of my boat in front of me, and then try my way that way. You know what I mean? At least a couple strokes to try my way that way. So I'm glad I'm going over this, because that's gonna be the biggest headache. You can watch a tutorial, and you're just like, well, at some point out there, my boat was at a dead stop, wind was coming at me, waves, you know, the water was pushing you this way, and I had to go to you, well, get the bulk of the weight in front of you, so now I can pry the boat your direction, and now I can soften it up. Okay, I'm gonna get some more time on the clock, and then we're gonna go over effective ways to pry. All right, hell yeah. Now I think the most effective way to pry is 15 degrees, sweep it under the boat, and then just a quick pry. You know what I mean? And then just kind of practice this. Even if you don't go forward, I think the most important thing is to practice seeing how much you can rotate the boat, you know, every stroke. So if I go this way, and then I can rotate the boat. Because we already showed that until you're up to speed, I might have to rotate the boat your way, try your direction, and then use that momentum to come your way. Let's go to this outside. We got some wind. This side I'm just not very good at. That's so interesting. That's the same technique I used on my strong side, but it's just interesting how you just, my off side, you just lose your mind. It's just like, I can't paddle anywhere. So even right now, I'm drifting this way. We're gonna go to this side. I gotta get the bulk of the weight of the boat this direction, and then start prying your way. But my pry is not very strong on this side. But once it gets going your way, then I can start paddling, get up to speed, start tracking. Okay, so this is cool because my offside is still not the best pry, but my onside is just Jedi. So I'm going to go over a couple techniques of why I'm so good on this side. And one, hands down, is that I'm able to sit more over the boat over here. I'm just more comfortable. You know, I got basically a flat spot on my hip. We're over here, yeah, it's all right. I'm just, it's not as stable. I kind of have to sit upright, and then I don't want to reach my arms past about here. So here's the angle on this. We're on the strong side. You know, I'm not necessarily leaning over further, but I just know my paddle's always vertical. And when it is vertical, I'm just super balanced. And this gives me an opportunity to also get my paddle past vertical. And if I do that, then I can really pry the boat. If my paddle's not past vertical, I can't pry the boat as hard. Okay, so let's go back to some of the tips I was given in other videos. You know, if you're trying to get your pry, you know, put your hand right here, brace, and then push off. Sometimes I jump up. And here's, I'm just thinking another one. Take a stroke, get your arm all the way back here, and then use your body to pry against it, kind of like you're doing like a big backstroke. And at least you're getting that pry done. Driving it just a little bit deeper. I know I've done that just when paddling just easy water. It just feels better. You know, you take this a nice stroke, you're paddling the water kind of deep. It just helps with that ride. It just kind of makes it smooth. But I know even when I'm charging, like I'll either move this hand or kind of accentuate that, you know, kind of like mimic that drop. I've already made a video where you can literally get this thing to be an outlet. You know, just get it into position and then just start reefing on it. This is definitely a good technique. Getting your paddle in the pry position and rotating back. What that looks like normal, I think, is just paddling forward. You see that that's not very strong, but kind of somewhere in between, you know, doing that and you know, maybe getting a little bit lower. That's better. You know, finding that purchase. So how I can find that purchase go over to the other side of the lake. So let's do that. Let's go over to the other side of the lake. And alright, but before we do that, I think I'm going to stay over here because the lighting's just awful. Let's work on our strong side and just, you know what I mean? I use the term like Jedi, it just feels so good. So, you know what I mean? What does that mean? And what do those strokes look like? Because even just right here, I'm not going that fast, but I just know it just feels good. You know what I mean? I know maybe this is just like the peak output, where I just know where my boat's going. But it's pretty strong, and it is probably just my normal stroke. And I think I'm just overemphasizing that push, because even when I'm going easy, that's the same tension that I feel. But if I show you like this, then you can kind of see that bite. Because when you're learning to R1 raft, there just ain't no bite. You know what I mean? You paddle forward, and then you kind of just softly rotate the other direction, and there's just no bite on this. Where I would just get, you know, forceful, just like impact. So that's where that technique of, you know, putting your hand in here and then leaning into it, or just your arm, if you like to paddle. You know, because some people do. They'll take a stroke, they'll be back here. You know what I mean? Or just drop your arm on the boat and get the boat going back the other direction. And let me try that full speed just to even see if that makes sense. Probably the way that makes the most sense. It's like, hey, I'm paddling forward, I know how to rudder, and then I can put a little bit extra juice on it right at the end. And that also makes sense because it's just like, oh, it seems like it'd be easier to rotate the boat way out here. That's kind of what we learned from like raft guys. With the R1, it doesn't really matter. I think here's kind of a Jedi technique. It's just like, I can rotate the boat, like here's center, I can rotate the boat just right on my hip. And that's because like I'm the main weight in this boat. I'm basically the pivot point. So if I do a rudder that's behind my hip, just even slightly, I can get the boat to rotate. So that's why with R1, you don't have to like rotate, you don't have to pry like really far back there, and that's where this Jedi technique of like, I can get my paddle just deep right here, and then pry the boat around. Alright, so let's do that stroke. Getting the boat to pry like right here. Getting the boat to pry right there. And I was kind of using that technique of like getting the paddle and then kind of letting go. That can help. So let me do that same technique on my offside, and hopefully it works out pretty good. hell yeah. So that was offside. And that was interesting because I made one mistake. When I turned around, I was facing that direction. That just felt natural for whatever reason on my offside. But you got to get the boat in front of you. So I needed to be pointed over there. So that really messed up my whole trajectory. So I'll do that same mess up again. And then you can see how much it takes to get the boat back in front of me and paddle straight. Even just right here. Get the boat in front of me. That's the direction I want to go. Gotta not say hell yes too much. All right, so let me throw some more time on the clock because I really did want to go over kind of all my Jedi strokes on this left side and see if I can do them on the off side. So the left side of the boat's my strong side if I get those words mixed around. Yeah, because some of my early videos, it was like you're like when I paddle this way, the back of the boat's turning this way, and I want to slap it and meet it with my paddle stroke. So if I go this way, I'm just kind of meeting it, and both should come to a dead stop. So that's when you know your pry is strong, instead of doing this, and then see, and then they're just like you're slowing the back down instead of just making a dead stop. So that's when you know you'll have your pry down, is when you just feel those dead stops on your pry. Okay, let's do some of the strokes that I feel good on this side. And even just that one right there, you know, I want the boat to be right here. This is good, but because I got so much power on my pry, I can mess it up and then get it back. All right, let's do that one a couple times, both directions. Alright, that kind of simulates messing up, getting offline, which we did before, and then, you know what I mean, and then getting that boat back in front of you. Alright, so right now I'm going to start paddling this way, and I'm going to start a pry stroke first. So in R1 rafting, let's say I want to go, let's say I'm over here, and I want to go that way. You know what I mean? It's almost better just to rotate this way. And get the boat prying this way. And we've gone over that. But let's say you still want to go the intuitive way. You know what I mean? I want my boat to go that way. Well, I need to rotate it so again the bulk of the boat's in front of me, and then I can start prying this way and then paddle this way. We have a ton of wind to help us, so this should be pretty easy. But what I'm going to go over is like, just do a strong pry right off the get-go. I'm going to do my strongest pry. Alright, here we go. And I could have probably done a couple, you know what I mean, a couple tries. Let's say I'm just like off angle, so I'm over here, I want to go that way. All right, hell yeah. Turn my boat almost 270. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's exactly where I want to be. All right, let's do that one more time because I just want to put that intuitive. You know, you almost have to be dead sideways. All right, here we go. So I think I came out here, I wanted to show you these strokes, you know what I mean? It's a combination of like going deep and then maybe angled, but both do the job. And we said you can get a pretty decent, well, you can get a decent fry up here if you're going fast, but even when I'm not going any at all, the places where you can get, well, let's do that. So I'm at a total stop, you know, we did this one where you go, you know, so that one you can just practice in place. Whew. Get your fingers out of there. And then I guess the next step to that one is to get it just a little bit lower, and you can even just let go of your hand. And then the other ones that I like that are Jedi are just vertical and just right in here. And even if they don't turn the boat, you know, even if you're just right here, I think I've gone over that in other videos that you're still, the fry is still strong. You're using that momentum, even when you're going this way, you know, I'm using that momentum towards you, just even a couple. And that's enough to get the boat going. You know, especially when you're getting blown around, you know what I mean? You might really have to get the boat this way. Stop the momentum. And sometimes the only way to stop the momentum with the fry, you know, it is to fry in your direction. And then bring that momentum around and then get it going where you want to go. So I think that's where people are going to get most frustrated. You're either at a dead stop or getting blown the other direction, and you got to find a way. See, look at that fry. That gets my momentum going that direction. And now I can paddle right towards you. Alright, so let's see. Well, let me do this offside, just so, that was the whole point, is like, well, can you kind of do those same things on the offside? Well, yeah, if I need to get back towards you, I need to rotate this way. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, that's such a cheating way to do it. But if I want to go back that way, just take a couple paddle strokes this way, and now I can use that momentum to actually go where I want to go. So let's do that one a couple more times. Because when you're just starting off, you might be in an eddy and you're just like, I just need to get the heck out of here, or change my direction completely. Well, so to do that, you're going to take two backstrokes backwards. That rotates the boat, and it sets that angle up perfect. So then you can use that momentum to where you want to go. And be choice on that second backstroke. So I do one like normal, but then the boat's going to rotate, so I tried to find that same direction. And now I can paddle forward off that. All right, heck yeah, let's do that one more time. Got some speed this way. All right, heck yeah, that's offside. And the other things that I kind of wanted to show on this offside is how, yeah, I'm leaning way over the boat now. Because if I do that, now I'm just in pure control of this boat. And this might be one of the best tutorials right here for just practices. Because this is the direction that you pry. And the pry is going to help you stay in this circle. So my forward paddle stroke is just as strong as my pry. I mean, you should be able to get yourself going backwards with this. Yeah, let's come around. My paddle is deep, it's vertical, it's even past 90. And this is what I found trying to get Jedi on this offside, is really leaning my arm out. Alright, hell yeah. Alright, so how to get Jedi on your offside, how I did it, or how I'm doing it, is I want my paddle more vertical and even at an angle like this. So I really need to focus on leaning, but not necessarily leaning too much, but basically getting my arm over the boat. Getting his top arm like farther out over the water. So here's one of the techniques I can do in place. Kind of emphasize that. Just kind of paddling in a circle to take a forward stroke. Lean that hand over the top. I'm still using that paddle stroke to my benefit. Now I don't think my paddle's too far past vertical, but if your pry's getting washy, just take your arm and push it farther into this arm farther up over the water. That's gonna give your pry more juice. joining me. And guess what? That's a video.